Hi guys and welcome back to the Red Mist podcast with me Seshadri, and today we are doing raw reactions from the Sheffield United game. Yes, if you guys did miss my match preview, do check that out. That's the episode right before this. But in my preview I said we could end up going 62 games unbeaten at Anfield, and I'm hoping that's the case, and we don't just go unbeaten. I hope we get a win this game because 3 points are going to be very, very crucial. Manchester City and West Ham drew 1-1 at the Olympic Stadium in London. So, which means we need to capitalize on Manchester City's slip up, and we need to get as many points before we face them on November the 8th. A couple of fixture reschedulings as well. Manchester City is one of them. The game for Brighton also has been moved to a midday kickoff. So, a couple of rescheduling there, a little bit of rescheduling there, but a little bit of admin before we get into the real stuff. But yeah, I'm watching Manchester United and Chelsea slug it out in Lancashire in a rainy pitch, rainy day at Old Trafford. But here we are. We are going to be previewing Sheffield against Liverpool. Obviously, important game for us, no question about it. If you guys don't know what raw reactions are, before I get into it, raw reactions are basically where I react pre-game, halftime, and at full time, and I compile them into one single episode. It helps you relive the game a bit, I think. By the way, thank you all for your support on the podcast. The podcast just recently crossed a total of 900 downloads, so very, very happy about that. But 900 is not really a milestone. I think it would have been more appropriate if I'd done it after 1,000. But nevertheless, it's a growing podcast. That's all I can say. But yeah, raw reactions, welcome. If you're new to the show, do follow the podcast. If you're not, then keep following it. But yeah, we're here and we're going to be looking at the lineups. So that's kind of what I do pre-game. I kind of see how wrong or how right I was. And right off the bat, looking at the visitors lineup first. So generally, I tend to look at the opposition lineup first. I don't know why I'm explaining the whole process of this show behind, but we'll start with Sheffield United's lineup. A couple of things. I did get a few things wrong. I can't lie. Just off the bat, I can say I got a few things wrong. But let's get into it. Aaron Ramsdale in goal, no surprises there. He's first choice. John Egan, Chris Basham, and Ethan Ampadu start the game for Liverpool, for Sheffield against Liverpool. Ethan Ampadu, I didn't expect him to start. Can't lie. Very surprising. Baldock on the right, Stevens on the left. No surprises there. I thought Jack Robinson was going to be the one starting on the left. Stevens will start as one of the back three, but unfortunately they've gone for a more defensive setup, having Stevens play out at left wing back or left back, however you want to see it. And Ethan Ampadu plays as one of the three centre-backs. Big game for him. I think he's a Chelsea youngster on loan. I don't know if Sheffield have signed him permanently yet, but I think he's on loan there. Big game for him, Wales youngster. He's actually got his Wales international caps, the senior international caps, much before a Premier League sort of debut or an appearance. That's the case for a lot of Welsh players, though, to be fair. So anyway, let's not get into how Ryan Giggs selects his team. In midfield, we have John Lundstrom, we have Berger, and we have Osborne, which is another surprising person whom I really thought I wouldn't see this game, but it is what it is. Up front though, that's the big news. I mentioned yesterday that Rhian Brewster could make his Anfield debut in the Premier League for Sheffield United. Here's the deal. He is. So he's partnering Ollie McBurney. I thought McGoldrick would have been a better partner, but Ollie McBurney, he's come under some criticism. Like I said, I don't want to go through what I said yesterday, but he's come under some criticism for his performances, but maybe Anfield is the right venue to prove his critics wrong. I don't know. But anyway, Rhian Brewster with Ollie McBurney, that's a front line we need to be watching out for. It's not an easy front line to play against. Brewster's very, very good at finishing. He's pacey. He can actually get a run in. If he gets a run in behind our centre-backs, which is possible, it's not impossible, especially with Van Dijk being out. Joe Gomez is fast, and these guys are fast, but Brewster can give us some trouble if he's on form. He had a good season last year on loan for Swansea. He was there for the second half of their championship campaign. Got them to the playoffs. Unfortunately, it didn't get much further than that. But I think it's a good. I think it's a good front line for Sheffield. It could be lethal. We need to be watching out for them, but they have gone defensive, so they know that we are going to have much of the possession. We're going to be the ones sort of dominating possession, creating more chances. So they have gone a little bit more defensive than they normally would. And they need points. Let's face it, they need points. They've got 1 point out of 5 games, and they need points. So and even that 1 point was a 1-1 draw with Fulham thanks to a penalty. So they need points, and they definitely can't. They definitely can't afford to compromise everything by throwing the kitchen sink at Liverpool and getting beat 5-0 or 6-0. But you've got Phil Jagielka on the bench. Long time since I've seen him, the former Everton star who once had a screamer against Liverpool. I remember wasn't my best moment as a Liverpool fan. Got Jack Robinson there, former Liverpool player, in fact. Verrips, Sharp, McGoldrick, Burke, and Oliver Norwood. Oliver Norwood was the guy I expected to start in midfield, but unfortunately Osborne gets the nod ahead of him. So let's actually have a look at Liverpool's lineup instead now. Big news. Alisson Becker is back. Yes, he is starting the game against Sheffield United. This has come totally as a surprise. I don't know if you can detect it right now, because I honestly thought Adrian was going to start this game. But Alisson Becker starts this game against Sheffield United. I am so excited. I can't even. Oh my God, not seeing Adrian in goal is literally bringing chills. Like, it's literally, it's I don't want to say orgasmic levels of joy, but it's close. But anyway, we've got Alisson in goal, Trent, Fabinho, Gomez, Robertson. So Fabinho's back again at centre-back. And weirdly enough, this is going to be a change in formation for us today, which is interesting because, anyway, we'll get to that. But I am so excited Alisson's in goal. I honestly, genuinely, I can't contain the excitement in my voice. But anyway, Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back, Fabinho at centre-back, Gomez at left centre-back, and Andy Robertson at left back. No surprises there. Matip, I don't know if he was not fit. He's not fit. He's not on the bench either. So he was definitely not fit, which means Fabinho starts again at centre-back. He's put in some world-class performances so far at CB. Expecting another one. Simple as. And, Joe Gomez, he did look better in the second half of the last game against Ajax. Hopefully that continues. Hopefully he can build on that. That gives him some confidence. The clean sheet would have helped as well. Andy Robertson at left back. And then we come to midfield. And we've got a double pivot today. We've got Gini Wijnaldum with Jordan Henderson. So a hard-working midfield. Thiago, unfortunately, still unfit. So he's not been playing so much, which is kind of a shame. But it is what it is. Thiago, not in the lineup. Not on the bench either. But Jordan Henderson and Gini Wijnaldum, they're going to be the double pivot around which the Liverpool attack works. We're going to have a lot of possessions. These two are going to be very, very key. And when we do lose possession, they're going to have to press like crazy because, we need to win that midfield battle, and we're outnumbered 2-3 there. So we need to win that battle. We're going with a 4-2-3-1. Which you would have guessed if I, by the fact that I said it's a double pivot. So we're going with a 4-2-3-1. It's a formation that I have kind of liked when we've played it. We played it in the second half of the Community Shield against Arsenal. We've played it a few times last season as well. I really liked it. We look very threatening when we play the 4-2-3-1. And the thing is, it allows us to maximize our attacking potential because right now we've got attackers in form. And I don't just mean Salah, Mane, and Salah and Mane. Firmino's not so much, but he's okay. But it allows us to maximize that. It will also allow Firmino to drop deeper. It's natural for him to stay that deep now, and try and create more than score, and that whole burden of goal scoring, and he's not been on form, and maybe a change in role might help with that. The person who does come in, though, Diogo Jota. I've been clamoring for this guy to be in. Him and Minamino, both of them. But honestly, I thought only one of them was going to get in, if at all. By form, Jota makes more sense. Minamino has been really good, but in terms of overall contribution, Jota's looked more like the natural fit to the Liverpool team. So we've got Diogo Jota on the right. Mo Salah is going to be playing up front, and Sadio Mane is going to be playing in his natural left wing. Jota offers a versatility that I have not seen in a Liverpool attack for a very, very long time. He plays on all three. He can play all three positions. He can even go up front, which means our front line is going to be extremely fluid, and Firmino is going to be like the conductor of the orchestra. He's going to have to dictate play. It would have helped if Thiago was there. I genuinely feel if Thiago had been fit, I think he would have played as one of the two. I think Wijnaldum would have been on the bench. But unfortunately, it is what it is. Fitness, you can't help it. It's a long season, and in the long run, we need him more. Probably in the second half of the season. When we have Champions League knockout games and things like that. So it's okay if he rests now, if he recovers now, and things like that. So that's fine. On the bench, we've got Adrian, we've got Nico Williams, we've got Nat Phillips, who's a spare centre back, Curtis Jones, James Milner, Takumi Minamino, and Xherdan Shaqiri as well. Shaqiri impressed last time. Minamino impressed last time after coming on against Ajax. James Milner, he's the industrious, hardworking guy. Probably might seem late on if the game is close. Curtis Jones, he could come on for Firmino at some point. I would expect him to come on for Firmino at some point, given that we also have a Champions League game on Tuesday against Midtjylland. So I would expect him to come on at some point. I think I would expect Curtis Jones to come on, and I would expect Minamino to come on at some point, because I feel like Minamino might start against Midtjylland, which means one of these boys will be rested. It offers a good chance to rest one of these guys, and Minamino might come on to play like the last 10, 15, 20 minutes maybe. Or if Klopp is feeling very, very daring, he might actually make a sub with 30 minutes to go. So anyway, that's my pre-game reaction. Love the lineup. Love the fact that Alisson is back. I am excited for this game. I think it's going to be Liverpool dominating. In my predictions, I said 3-0 win to Liverpool. I'm sticking by that. No changes there. The fact that Alisson's back is only going to bolster my confidence in the fact that we're going to get a clean sheet. And it's good that Alisson's back now, because you know what that means. He's got a few more games in the run-up to the game against Man City, and that's the big one. Like we're focusing, and I know the league is not just Man City. They've got a lot of other teams. Results this season have been haywire. So we've got a lot of other teams and stuff like that. But Man City is the biggest threat. Let's face it. The biggest threat to Liverpool defending our title is Man City. And, that game on November the 8th against them at the Etihad Stadium, that's going to be very, very crucial. But, I'm excited to, watch this game now, especially because Alisson said, oh my God, I can't actually, I genuinely had no idea. I genuinely did not expect this. So I am absolutely excited that Alisson is back. Unbelievable. But anyway, like I said, I'm excited. I'll see you guys for my reactions at halftime and then at full time. And, I'll let you know I do have some big news as well. So towards the end of the show, I will let you know what that is. But that's been me from pre-game. Fingers crossed we get a win. I'm hoping for a 3-0 comfortable clean sheet, comfortable win. But, we'll see. We'll see at halftime how the game's gone, and we'll see at full time how the game's gone and what the final result is. Right. Another week, another VAR decision is fucked up by these incompetent horse swankers. That's what these people are. These incompetent, inbred horse swankers. That's what these referees are. I'm not even going to apologize for this, because this is so wrong. This is so obviously wrong. The whole point of VAR was to make sure that correct decisions are given in games. And every single week, we cannot stop talking about the incorrect decisions that the Premier League has. We just cannot. We just cannot stop talking about the incorrect decisions that the Premier League has. Right. For those of you who are joining me right now in the middle of the podcast for some damn reason, this is raw reactions from the Sheffield United game. Sheffield and Liverpool playing at Anfield right now. Scores 1-1 at halftime. Roberto Firmino equalized after Sanderberger had scored a penalty for Sheffield United, which, by the way, I'm going to get to. Now, I'll get to the penalty first, and then I'll talk about the rest of the game. Okay, because there's a lot to talk about. Let's be really honest about it. First of all, let's talk about the penalty game, right? The penalty in the game. The most controversial decision, if I may add. This is so stupid. First of all, Fabinho gets the ball. Second of all, he's outside the box. How is that a penalty? Yes, it's inches outside the box at the moment of the tackle, but it's outside the box. If you're measuring millimeters for offsides, then why don't you do it for fouls? Especially fouls that can change games. I am so angry. I am fuming. My hand is shaking right now. I am trembling with anger right now. I swear to God, I would have absolutely punched the shit out of my Andre Marriner if I ever saw him. Look, I don't mean that literally, but you get what I mean. You get what I mean? This is ridiculous. Harry Maguire in the United Chelsea game before gets away with a UFC takedown, and Fabinho gets awarded a penalty against him, even though he's outside the box, even though he's got the ball. What on earth is VAR thinking? Genuinely, what on earth is VAR thinking? Look, I'll be honest. My first instinct on live, this thing was the same as Mike Dean. I thought it was a penalty. Okay, he awarded a free kick actually, so I thought it was. Look, it's outside the box. I'm watching the replay right now. It's outside the box. What on earth was VAR looking at? What are they watching the game in 240 pixels? Are they actually watching the game in 240 pixels? Have they not paid their subscription to BT or Sky or whatever the hell this is? Like, what on earth are you thinking? You absolute I don't want to say it. I genuinely I had to control myself because I don't want to use that term. But you absolute imbeciles. What are you thinking? I'm sorry, this is ridiculous. I don't blame Mike Dean for this. He thought it was a free kick. No, I have so many questions. We had the El Clasico today and there was a decision on a penalty. It was a clear penalty. Yes, Sergio Ramos sold it a little bit by flopping, but it was a clear penalty. It was a clear shirt pull by Longley. And even despite all that, the referee went and checked at the monitor on the pitch and then decided to award the penalty. Why don't English referees do that? Why don't English referees go and check the penalty, check if there's a penalty on the screen? Why don't they go to the screen and check if it's outside or inside the box, if it's a foul or not in the first place? Second, clarification from the Premier League. This is on Twitter, by the way. It was posted by some journalist. Clarification from the Premier League regarding the Sheffield United penalty that was awarded. VAR only ruled on whether the incident was inside or outside the box, not on whether a foul took place or not. I am sorry, a penalty is a game-changing decision. So if you're looking at awarding a penalty, you have to not just look at whether it's inside or outside the box, you have to look whether it's a damn penalty in the first place. Are you absolutely out of your goddamn mind? Unbelievable. This is unbelievable. This is ridiculous. It is getting to the point where every week we're being denied by VAR. I don't know if this is some sort of retribution for the idea of the whole big picture thing. But clearly Manchester United's not suffering from it. Harry Maguire is getting away taking down people like it's UFC. Honestly, Chelsea should have had a penalty today with Azpilicueta. That was a stone cold dead ass penalty. Why wasn't VAR looking at that? What is going on? Why are Liverpool being subjected to millimeters of scrutiny when Manchester United can get away with a bloody UFC tackle? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Anyway, look, I don't want to spend 15 minutes just ranting about this. I'll definitely talk about it more at full time, because I do want to see the rest of the goal. But I do want to, talk about the other aspects of the game. Let's talk about our equalizer. 41 minutes, Roberto Firmino gets his goal, a rarity, in fact. He's had an okay game. He's not been great, but he's not been bad either. So I maybe it's the deeper role that's suiting him. Like, I don't know what's going on. But anyway, ball comes out to the right to Henderson. Henderson puts in this amazing cross. I mean, it's a standard, it's a trademark of Henderson diagonal, but this time he just finds his mark with Sadio Mane. Ramsdale, to be fair, comes up with a really good save. But unfortunately for him, the rebound falls to Firmino, and he's right there to grab up the goal in front of an empty net. But not offside. Firmino did well to time his run. But genuinely, what on earth are these people thinking? What on earth is... I'm sorry, I keep coming back to this. Anyway, I'll talk more about it at full time. But anyway, the rest of the game, I thought Liverpool started out really well. Our best chance before the goal, in fact, was a shot from halfway line, which is kind of strange to say. But Trent's free kick almost nearly got Ramsdale out. It's almost crept in under the bar if it wasn't for Ramsdale pushing it over. So, fair play. That was really good. All in all, I think we looked good, but Sheffield kind of grew into the game and they got more confidence as the minutes went on. They're very well organised defensively. The setup is really good. Ethan Ampadu especially was quite impressive. Midfield was all right. They're very physical as well, which is something I expected because Everton's had success doing it. Aston Villa's had success doing it against us. So I expected there to be some sort of physicality, and they've kind of proven my point. A lot of clumsy fouls, and in the first or second minute, someone, I think it was John Egan, if I'm not mistaken. I may be wrong on this. but he comes flying into Mo Salah, takes him out, sort of sets the tone for the rest of the game. I think that's just one of those fouls where you just want to set the tone for the rest of the game. You just want to let Liverpool know this is not going to be as easy as they think it is going to be. So fair play to them. It is football, and that is kind of how they play. But look, Chris Wilder set his side up well. I mean, let's not. There's no two sides to it. He set his side up well. They're very, they're tactically very organized. They're very advanced in terms of their defensive setup. They've compressed spaces. They've worked the spaces really well. And even Mane getting away from his marker was more of an individual error than a group or a systemic fault with Sheffield's defense. So they've done really well. And they had a few chances of their own. Alisson was supposed to make a really good save. And then, of course, Ollie McBurney had another good chance, which he failed to put away. So his woes continue in front of goal. Rhian Brewster's looked a little lively, and he's troubled our defense quite a bit. Aerially, Sheffield United definitely has the advantage against our defense. We can't seem to win an aerial ball to save our lives. So, I mean, I think that's something that, set pieces are going to be an issue in that sense. I mean, not having Van Dijk there is going to be an issue. Personally, I think this is a game we should be coming out of with 3 points. I think we've been the better team throughout the first 45 minutes. I'll comment more on individual performances later on as we go on. Maybe at full time, I'll comment more on individual performances because I do want to give them time to sort of play their full 90. But what I will say is I think the front lines looked good. Midfield can do a better job. And I think defense aerially we've been lacking. But that was the case last game as well. So aerially we've been lacking, but I feel like we're doing okay. We're doing all right so far. Sheffield's not going to beat us on pace. I think we've shown with Rhian Brewster that we can cope up with him. So I think what they're going to have to rely on is counters and being physical. Counters because they give you space to attack. So that way we can maybe be vulnerable, and we have been vulnerable a couple of times this half. So that's yeah. So they need space to counter. So maybe on counters they might be dangerous. So we need to watch out for that. But I will also say that I think the main threat is going to be physical because McBurney is getting the better of Sanderberger. All these guys are getting the better of our defense and midfield in the air. And set pieces are going to be an issue. We can't concede stupid free kicks just outside the box or within sort of that range where you can cross it in. We can't concede corners. We can't concede many corners. I mean, obviously, I know it's a football game and there are bound to be one or two moments, but we need to take care basically. And I think our answer lies in numbers rather than maybe outright physical dominance. But that's been raw reactions from halftime. Again, it's just disappointing that I have to keep talking about refereeing standards more than anything else every week. Because I would much rather talk about Liverpool. I would much rather talk about Sheffield United and our performances, our individual players, rather than the referee performances. Let's save all that stuff for full time. So yeah, raw reactions from halftime of the Liverpool Sheffield game. Liverpool won, Sheffield United won. Goals from Roberto, Firmino and Sanderberger. Hopefully we can come out with three points from this game because we do need it. We need to capitalize on Man United, Chelsea and Man City slipping up, and we can't have a draw. So that's been raw reactions from today's game so far. It is halftime. I will be back for full time for more detailed talk on all of this stuff. But I'll see you guys. Right, it is full time here at Anfield and Liverpool have got the 3 points. We are 2-1 winners against Sheffield United. Very, very good game. Very, it was, I wouldn't say it was an end-to-end game, but it was a good game to watch. It was nice to watch. All in all, I felt like our performance deserved 3 points. And, if it wasn't for VAR, it would be a lot more comfortable than it is. And, I got into a whole rant about VAR at halftime, and I can assure you I am not done, although I might be a little bit calmer this time, but I am definitely not done. But performance-wise, I thought we looked really, really good. Very, very impressive performances. Diogo Jota, obviously, he got the winner. He got a header, which is the winner, which is very surprising to me because honestly, even at halftime, I think I mentioned it that, aerially, if we go up against Sheffield's likely going to win that. So I think, if we went man to man with Sheffield, I think I should have been a little more clear. If we went man to man with Sheffield, like we do in corners, for example, or free kicks, we're not going to win that aerial duel. But I think where, even for the first goal and even for the second goal, I think where we excel is our movement off the ball. And for the first goal, Mane slips his marker, gets behind and heads it, which is essentially a free header. And for the second goal, Jota does pretty much the same thing. So, but yeah, it was brilliant. Sadio Mane with the assist. So for those of you who have Mane in your FPL teams, good luck. It's been a good week for you. But more importantly, I think what I would say is our performance as a whole merited the 3 points. And Ajax, the game against Ajax, I can understand it not. Ajax could feel a little hard done by, but Sheffield United, looking at this game now, I'm not saying Sheffield played badly, and they definitely had chances. I mean, they're going to be looking back at that Ollie McBurney chance in the first half, and this game's definitely not going to help his case, by the way. Ollie McBurney's chance in the first half, and then even in injury time, Burke had a very, very good chance to sort of put the game, at least try and test Alisson, but he put it high and wide. It was unfortunate for Sheffield United. It was a good performance, I think, against maybe some of the mid-table teams, against some of the lower table teams. I think this performance might earn them 3 points, really. But to be fair, they weren't even supposed to be in the game at that point, because they got handed a very, very fortuitous penalty in the first half. I mentioned at halftime that the Premier League had issued clarification that they only looked at whether it was inside or outside the box. There's been more updates to that. Now the Premier League is saying they looked at both, whether it was inside and outside, and whether it was a penalty or not, whether it was a foul or not. Look, this reeks of incompetence. This reeks of last week. Last week they did the same thing. They said they gave one excuse, which is probably what they actually did. Then the fans gave them hell about it. And then they came up with another excuse to, supplement the original excuse. Look, you guys are just incompetent. Admit it. The problem is not Henderson. The problem is not Maguire or Azpilicueta or whoever, whichever player from the 20 teams that you want. It's not them. They know, the fans know, the clubs know, the owners know, everyone who watches the Premier League knows you guys are incompetent. The referees are just absolutely incompetent. They cannot referee a Sunday league game at a park here. They are absolute bonkers. And the what's worse? I just realized, sometime in the middle of the second half, the Premier League has this quality of refereeing. Imagine the quality of refereeing as you go lower down. I can't even imagine what teams in League One and League Two are going through, like fans of teams in League One and League Two are going through. Because honestly, if this is the standard of refereeing in the Premier League, it's going to be atrocious down there. Like, they would give penalties for fouls on the halfway line, I'm sure. Like, ridiculous. But to be fair, even the Premier League can do that. We've already seen penalties given for fouls outside the box. I'm pretty sure there will come a day in the future when there's a foul on the halfway line and there's a penalty given, or when there's a foul. We've seen penalties after full time, so anything's possible. So let's not rule anything out. The Premier League is so incompetent that nothing is beyond their realm of incompetency. But let's not get sidetracked. It was still 3 points. Good performance. Most impressive performers, I think, Mane, Jota, Salah. Firmino got the goal. He had a good performance today, but I feel like he can still be better. It wasn't his best, but he is getting there. The Ajax game was an improvement. This was his further step up. The goal is going to boost his confidence as well. And we're going to need him. We're going to need him. If he's going to be starting games, we're going to need him to play like the Roberto Firmino of 2 seasons ago. And that Firmino was destroying teams, literally. We're going to need him, especially with the Man City game coming up in a couple of weeks' time. And look, at the end of the day, we got 3 points and that's all that matters. And that's what everyone will be saying. But look, see, I want to talk about the performance. I want to talk about how good we were. How good Jota was, how good Robertson was. Even Trent found form today. I think that early shot was a sign of things to come. He got the assist, I think, for the second. No, he didn't get the assist. He got the assist for a disallowed goal by Salah, which, by the way, amazing. I know it was disallowed, but it was a collector's item goal, like the commentator described it. What a take. Just I mean, it was a thing of beauty just watching Mo Salah do his thing. Unfortunately, Salah didn't get a goal, which means my FPL team is kind of screwed for this week. Um, but you know what? It's fine. Liverpool got the win. That's what I really care about. I don't care if my FPL team doesn't last very long or isn't very good. But look, Salah played really well. Jota, Firmino, all these guys played well. Wijnaldum wasn't great in the first half, but definitely stepped it up in the second a little bit. No, I still wouldn't say, like, I think out of the 11 so far, Firmino, Trent, and Wijnaldum's place have been most a threat, if you ask me, this season. Trent did some good stuff today, so maybe he's bought himself a little bit of time. Firmino did some good stuff today, so maybe he's bought himself a little bit of time. But Wijnaldum, second half, yes, was an improvement on the first, but I still wouldn't say it was great. And if we're going to be playing this 4-2-3-1, which to be fair, it does look like a good system to play. So if we're going to be playing this 4-2-3-1, then I would say that, Thiago and Henderson right now would be our best pairing. I genuinely don't see Wijnaldum getting into the team. The front four looked really good cohesion-wise. It didn't look like Jota was a part of the second unit and then now he's being transferred to the first. It looked like Jota's been there all along. He fits, I mentioned this a couple of episodes ago, he fits seamlessly into the lineup. And he performed really well, scored the winner, one of the shortest people on the pitch, scoring a header. So, that was quite surprising. I had actually mentioned on another forum that I would be very surprised if our winning goal was actually a header, and that's what it actually turned out to be. But, I'm really impressed. But look, we can't have these conversations about referees week in and week out. The focus of a football game has to be the football game. It can't be. Look, you can talk about referees now and then, and that used to be the case. Look, every team had bad decisions go against them, even without VAR. But generally, you kind of felt okay, it was going to even out over the season, one, and second, you kind of felt, okay, it's going to happen. Like, teams, sometimes they're on the receiving end of good decisions, sometimes they're on the receiving end of bad decisions. But we never, if I went back 5 or 6 years even, or forget 5 or 6 years, even just before the World Cup, the 2017-18 season, we never spoke so much about referees after every week. We never, like, there have been Merseyside derbies in the past. We've played Aston Villa in the past. We've played Sheffield United in the past. But, the on-field referee, yes, sometimes you'd be denied a clear penalty. But there would be other times where you're given a penalty when you're not supposed to get one. And even you'd acknowledge it. Even you'd be like, okay, we got lucky with that one. But the fact is, we never spoke about referees and refereeing decisions for so much every week after week after week. We never spoke about millimeters and offside lines and things like that. And it's ridiculous, in my opinion, the way VAR is being used. VAR is a good technology. But VAR was brought in to assist the on-field referee, not to do his refereeing for him, which is what is happening in the Premier League at this point. Look, you can say that, like I said, wrong decisions have been given in the past. But like I said, you need VAR to assist referees, not do the refereeing for them, which is clearly what is happening. That's and the other thing is, VAR was brought in for clear and obvious errors, mistaken identities, clear red cards that have been given as a yellow, or things like that. So there's stuff like that. But if you're talking millimeters, let's take last week's disallowed goal against Everton. An assistant referee on the far side is not going to see that unless he has eagle eyes or unless he somehow got lucky with a decision. He's not going to see that 1 millimeter of Mane's shoulder being ahead. And plus, it makes no sense, because what advantage is Mane getting from that? Nothing. And the other thing I don't understand about the Premier League, and this goes again, to the general point I make about this league's incompetency, or these referees' incompetency. Why don't referees in the league make use of the monitor, the pitch side monitor? We had an incident in the El Clasico today where Clement Longley conceded a penalty. I referred to it at halftime. I said, Go to the monitor, have a look for yourself. VAR is there to assist the referee. You have to tell him, you know what, we think it's a penalty, but it's best if you go look at the monitor. Just go look at it. If you still think it's a penalty, give it. If you don't think it's a penalty, don't give it. Personally, I think VAR is a failure the way it's used in England. I will not blame the technology, because technology does not do your refereeing for you. Technology just gives you an objective view of what's going on the pitch. You're the referee, you're in charge of making those big decisions. And you have to get them right. If you can't get them right with this technology, this level of sophistication, what are you going to get them right with? Literally, the only thing you can do is go have a time machine. That's the only thing. You've got to call Doctor Who or someone. I don't know if Jodie Whittaker is free right now. Like, Jodie Whittaker is literally the only person who can save you and help you make correct decisions if that's what you want. But look, the incompetence is not just in VAR, and the other thing. This is something that I don't know for sure. I'm not privy to any private conversations. But what I will say is, I feel like the VAR referees are just afraid of overruling the on-field referee, because the on-field referee so far is usually the senior most person in that amongst that whole referees team. So whether it's Mike Dean, Michael Oliver, these are guys experienced, who've been in the league for a long time, who are who referee European matches, international matches, and things like that. So I feel like these guys are afraid to overrule them. And to me, that's just really stupid. Or when they do overrule them, it's just a very wrong decision. Now, as much as I want, and even at halftime I said this, maybe this is retribution for Liverpool coming up with Project Big Picture. Maybe it is. But I don't want to play the bias card, because we're not the only club. Even today, even in the game right before this, Chelsea were denied a clear penalty. And I cannot, and Tottenham had that Eric Dyer handball, which was ridiculous, in my opinion. Probably the worst decision of all time. Or at least up there. Like, it's definitely top 5. But to me, like, these are things that, VAR as a technology cannot solve. This is just incompetence. That's it. This is people not using their common sense. This is stupid. This is absolutely stupid. And there needs to be a compromise. Even today in the game against Sheffield, Andy Robertson had this one moment where the ball hits him on his arm. Sheffield players appealed for a penalty, wasn't given. VAR reviewed it, wasn't given. And it's the right decision, because, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Liverpool fan and would hate to see another penalty given, but because it hit his arm while he was running. His arm was in a natural position. It wasn't unduly exaggerated or stretched out to make his body bigger. So, they didn't give a penalty. But this same incident, if it happened in the Champions League, if let's say an Ajax player had done the same thing and Robertson did the same thing, that would be a penalty. Now, it would be a shit decision either way. It's a shit decision, to be given a penalty for that. But at least in the Champions League, they're consistent with it. I think what really frustrates people is consistency. If one week you see, Mane being given offside for a millimeter, and the next week you see Harry Maguire rugby tackling Aspilicueta to the ground and getting away with it, there's no consistency. There's nothing. There's no sort of, equality in measures, which I think is what irks football fans the most. It's not about the decision itself. Yes, look, every team, every season, no matter VAR, no VAR, pre-VAR, whatever, pre-assistant referee, whatever era you take, every decision, every controversial decision is going to upset one set of fans. Whether it's a penalty that's not given, a foul that's given, a handball, whatever it is, it's going to upset one set of fans. You're never going to keep anyone happy, or everyone happy, rather. But at least if it's consistent, you'll be like, okay, you know what? This same penalty was given for this particular team 3 weeks ago. So it's a similar incident. Fair enough. It's a shit decision, but at least it's fair. I think the problem that we all have with VAR is the fact that it's not consistent. It's not about the decision itself. It's the fact that it's not consistent. And a lot of it stems from England wanting to have its own quote unquote rules, as opposed to just falling in line with, Europe. Like, I know you're trying to get Brexit done and everything, and we're going to get out of Europe by January 3rd, January whatever. I think 31st, I'm not sure. But I know Brexit is happening, but Brexit doesn't need to happen everywhere. Like, sometimes you have to acknowledge that Europe has got it right. Because I watched the Serie A and I watched the Bundesliga and I watched the MLS. The MLS was one of the first leagues where VAR was tried out, and they had a lot of issues initially. But now you look at all these three leagues, and I'm sure this is the case for Spain as well. They don't have as many issues with VAR as we do. They don't sit and talk about VAR week in, week out. They actually talk about the game, which is lost right now in football. See, I know I don't care about the fact that, people can't celebrate last minute winners because you need to wait for VAR. People can't celebrate a winner in a derby because you need to wait for VAR. Like, I don't care about all that. At the end of the day, I want the correct decision. Whether you're celebrating a goal. Look, I don't mind celebrating a goal 5 minutes later. Like, at the end of the day, I'm still going to be happy if my team wins. That's what matters. So I don't agree with people who say, I partially agree with people who say it takes the emotion out of football. Fair enough. You can't celebrate a goal like you used to. You need to wait. But at the same time, it is ridiculous to have decisions like this, which are clearly wrong, to have cover-ups after that, like we had today, all because you're incompetent, all because you're too stupid. And it looks, honestly, like you haven't paid your subscription to Sky and BT, and you're watching the game on some illegal stream from some random shady country on 240 pixels and making decisions. Like that's what that's what I imagine a VAR screen looks like. I imagine they're watching it in 240 pixels on an illegal stream, dealing with ads in between, which is why they get a lot of their decisions wrong. Like, that's kind of what I imagine it's like. It's at Stockley Park. Because clearly they've not been doing a good job. And something needs to change. And this, I don't know if it's the way these referees are trained. I don't know if it's the referees course of the FA. Like, I don't know what's going on. But clearly something is going on. Something needs to be done. And like, there's just a lot of things wrong with English football right now. But prime amongst them is the referees, because they're spoiling the product. The referees are spoiling the product, not the players, not the quality of football, because the Premier League, and I still believe it is, the best league in the world. So, to me, it's the referees who are spoiling the quality of football, not anyone else. And at the end of the day, I just want consistency. I don't care if it's a shit decision, but if everyone's getting those same shit decisions, fine. That's fine. In my view, that's fine. Like, yes, use some common sense. The handball rule earlier was, by the rules sort of an issue. Use some common sense. Don't be that stupid also, but don't be on this extreme either. Find a middle ground somewhere. Because right now you look like a bunch of incompetent cows who can't operate a computer and who can't use common sense when you need to. But anyway, that's been this episode of Raw Reactions from the Sheffield United game. 2-1 win to Liverpool. I'm very, very happy about that. The next game is a Champions League game against Midtjylland. I will try to do a preview of the game. Not sure if I will, because I am traveling back to India on the 28th, which is the day after the Champions League game, and my flight leaves early in the morning. So I'm not sure if I'll do a preview and raw reactions for this Champions League game, unfortunately. I will try, but there's no guarantees. No disrespect to Midtjylland, but yeah, it is what it is. There are going to be some games like this, unfortunately, I just hope it's not too many of them this season, but and I'll try to do as many episodes as I can, but unfortunately this one may have to sort of just sit out. But yeah, like I said, that's been my time for today. Hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. I will see you guys next time. Have a good day. My name is Ishadri. Goodbye.